Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we'll be studying chapter 7, Knowledge of the Absolute in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Please join us for Jalal Mother prayers. Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha us in the recitation of the first verse of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, Knowledge of the Absolute. Verse 1, chapter 7, Knowledge of the Absolute. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Sakta Manah Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashrayah Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Gyasyasi Tach Shunu. Translation by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt." Hare Kṛṣṇa. Please join us in Guru Pranati to invoke the blessings of Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas and the spiritual masters. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tadaham Vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam Shri Kṛṣna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Kṛṣna, Hare Kṛṣna, Kṛṣna Kṛṣna, Hare Hare, Hare Rāma, Hare Rāma, Rāma Rāma, Hare Hare. Hare Kṛṣna, dear devotees. So, in the very first verse, Lord Krishna is revealing some amazing lessons that we should learn. So, for this chapter, chapter 7 in Bhagavad Gita, Knowledge of the Absolute, I have come up with an acronym so that we can remember the different sections of this chapter very nicely, as well as understand the subject matters so that we can practice them. So it's not just, we just know it and that's it. No, that will not solve the problem, because that is knowledge. But realization is practicing the numinal knowledge or numinous knowledge, as has been identified, or the numinous knowledge is after practicing, what have we realized, what have we seen, what have we experienced. So those aspects are also equally important. So the acronym is SACRED, SACRED. So let's just dive into the individual sections, and first 7 verses refer to S as in sound, right? Shravanam, hearing. Just by hearing, and Lord Krishna, He is calling out to Arjuna. He is saying, Tashrinu. So just try to hear from me. And he is so blessed that Lord Krishna Himself is revealing that knowledge to him. So this is Arjuna. So one of the important lessons is that one should listen from Lord Shri Krishna or His devotees. Is appearing in disciplic succession. So it is very important to understand the message as Lord Krishna intended. That's why Srila Prabhupada named Bhagavad Gita as Bhagavad Gita as it is. And it doesn't mean that we just put it as it is on the shelf. The purpose is, yes, putting it on the shelf, having Bhagavad Gita will have its benefit, but the true benefit will come when we open it. When we open and study it. That is the true, purpose for us to kind of like understand. We all understand God is great, but how great He is, we come to know when we open Bhagavad Gita, when we hear from Him. And the Acharyas reveal, Srila Prabhupada in his transcendental ecstasies as this purpose, he is revealing the secret behind the various spoken words of Lord Shri Krishna. And Lord Shri Krishna in the very first verse is referred to as Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Now in Bhagavad Gita, we have studied the first 6 chapters which refer to Karma Yoga. The middle 6 chapters refer to Bhakti Yoga or devotional service. And then the last 6 chapters are focusing on analytical study, which is Jnana Yoga. So again, even though there are 3 sections, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Jnana Yoga, everything is dovetailed and finally culminating in Bhakti Yoga, because all the secrets are revealed, that they are revealing that one has to attain perfection by engaging in Bhakti Yoga. And we saw as how Bhagavad Gita began, and Srila Vyasadeva is writing. So he did not say Shri Dhritarashtra Vacha, he did not say Shri Sanjaya Vacha, he did not even say Shri Arjuna Vacha. But when Lord Shri Krishna is speaking, he is saying Shri Bhagwan Vacha, right? So there is an inherent address that Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is speaking, right? That's what has been identified with that Shri in the beginning. And then Bhagwan. Parashar Muni, father of Srila Vyasadeva, Srila Kṛṣṇa Dvaipanya Vyasadeva, he revealed the definition of Bhagwan. He gives the definition of Bhagwan, which is Aishvaryasya samagrasya viryasya yasha shriya jnana vairagayascha sannam bhagaiti gana. So one who is full in the 6 main opulences. So Lord has unlimited opulences. And the opulences are basically to attract someone, right? So Lord attracts everyone. The name Kṛṣṇa itself means all attractive. It also has another meaning, which is dark complexion, as is normally discussed with reference to Srila Kṛṣṇa Dvaipanya Vyasadeva, whose Dvaipanya means one who had taken birth on a dweep, on an island, and Kṛṣṇa refers to his dark complexion. In case of Lord Shri Krishna, it means all attractive, and he is, as per the definition given by Parashar Muni, full in all 6 opulences. Aishvaryasya samagrasya. Samagrasya means 100%. He is complete. He is full. He controls everything. So what is the first opulence? It refers to riches, Aishvarya, right? So he is. Nobody can say in this world that they own all the riches. Yes, you have some bank balance. I have some bank balance. And even if there is no bank balance, even that has a figure of 0. But nobody can say that they own everything. They own all the riches in this world. And Lord Kṛṣṇa, he owns all the riches, and not just in this material, on earth, but also in the material universe and spiritual universes. So there are innumerable material universes, innumerable spiritual universes, and he is the Sarvalok Maheshwaram. He is the proprietor. He owns all the material and spiritual universes. Then the second aspect comes is Veer. So sometimes people are, attracted by the riches, and some people are attracted by the, strength. So Viryasya. So he is very strong. He is very powerful. So that is another characteristic which is also attractive. And then some people are attracted by fame, name, fame, and glories. So Yasha. So Lord Kṛṣṇa is glorified not just on this planet Earth, but also in heavenly planets. Even in Yamloka, as we saw in Ajamal's story, that Yamraj is glorifying Lord Shri Krishna. So here, all over the universe, not just our universe, all universes, especially spiritual universes in Vaikuntha planets, all the devotees, all the residents of Vaikuntha planets, they are serving Lord with awe and reverence, and they are constantly worshipping. So he is all famous. So that's very attractive. And Shriya, he is very beautiful. So Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shubham. So Lord Kṛṣṇa can attract a crore, which is 10 millions of Kandarpa, Cupids, Kamdev. So he is so attractive, he is so beautiful, and sometimes beauty is attractive to the eyes. So again, those personalities, those living entities are attracted towards Lord Shri Krishna because of his unlimited beauty. Gyan. Some people are very much attracted, someone who is very knowledgeable, and he is the supreme knowledgeable, right? So he is Abhigya Swarat. So he is cognizant of everything directly as well as indirectly. So when, in a company, a CEO places someone as a department head, then whatever that department head is going, doing activities, he is aware of because of the working of the company. But
also directly means Lord is further and is completely independent. Swarat means independent. So he is not limited like you and me. We have limited influence, but Lord has unlimited influence, and he's he's full in knowledge. You and I, we have some knowledge, right? So we are same in quality. He is Vibhu, he is all potent, and we are Anu. So qualitatively we are one, but quantitatively we are different. I know my business, you know your business, but Lord Kṛṣṇa, he knows everyone's business indirectly and directly. As Paramatma in our heart, he is the overseer and permitter. Overseer means he is seeing everything that is going on. And we are aware of what is going on in our mind and some of the aspects, but we don't know how our body internally is functioning. For that, we go to the doctor and say, please tell us. And they use different instruments to try to diagnose, right? And they can only predict. They cannot be, show it with like, yes, 100% this is the disease, and then 100% this is the remedy that will solve this disease. They can make an effort, because ultimately the permeator is Super Soul, Paramatma in our heart. Lord expands as Paramatma. So that secret has also been revealed in this chapter. And then some people are saying, we are more attracted by one who is renounced, who is not, attached to things. So Lord is full in renunciation. And we hear the incident where Prachetas, after 10,000 years of tapasya, right? After, meditation, by the 10 sons of Prachin Barhi went underwater. That was also not on the land, it was performed underwater. And when Lord, he appeared, he blessed them and said, yes, you have my blessings, go and rule the world. Yet at the same time, he also expresses that I am very much attracted by you brothers because you cooperate very nicely with each other. And Srila Prabhupada gave this example that in the society, we should all, among the devotees, actually not just among the devotees, but in the very existence in this world, we should be very nicely, very much, our interaction should be dependent, and as His Holiness Bhaktitirtha Maharaj used to say, that we should interact with another person, another living entity, as if the success of our devotional service depends on this interaction. So every interaction should be very conscious interaction. And we talked about peace formula, right? So let's finish this. So whoever has all 6 opulences, who's full in all 6 opulences, that person is called Bhagwan. And Lord Kṛṣṇa is the only one who has unlimited opulences, and he is full in all 6 opulences. So that's why he is addressed as Bhagwan. And there are many, Ishvaras, many gods or many authorities in this world. You may be influencing and controlling some of the factors. So you are authority in that respect. Yet at the same time, the supreme authority is Lord Shri Kṛṣṇa. Ishvaraha Paramaha Kṛṣṇaha Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govindaha Sarva Karana Karanam. So Ishvara Paramaha Kṛṣṇa. So he is Parameshwar. And he is the Ishvara of all other Ishvaras, because he is the topmost one. And Anadir Adir Govinda. Anadi means there was no one before him, right? And he is the Adi. He is the the first. He is the one who was existing when nothing else was existing. Ahameva sameva agre nanyadyasat satparam. So Lord Kṛṣṇa reveals in the 2nd canto to Lord Brahma that I was there before this material world was there, and I will stay even after the material world is annihilated. I remain. So he is identifying to Brahma that he is the Purana Purusha, and he is the cause of all causes, right? Sarva Karana Karanam. So that is also very important to understand. And it is also revealed by the sages at Naimisharanya when they invite Sutta Goswami to take Vyasasana and recite the whole Srimad Bhagavatam, answering their various questions, right? In the 1st canto, there are 22 questions that they inquiries, 22 categories. So in the 1st chapter, there are 6 questions. But before making those questions, they are also recognizing that how do we understand absolute truth. And Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada in the preface identified, refers to absolute truth, because there can be many gods, but the absolute truth is one. And that, he is above the relativity of this material world, and he is the supreme being, Lord Shri Kṛṣṇa. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam avyayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwaniti shabdyate. So, the learned transcendentalists who are above the dualities, who understand the absolute truth, recognize the absolute truth in three forms. Brahmeti, Brahman effulgence, just like sunlight is there, right? Coming from sun, so that's Brahman. And Paramatma, the super soul. So Brahman has only Sat feature, the eternity, he is all pervading. Yet Paramatma is all pervading and full of knowledge. And Bhagwan, he is all pervading, full of knowledge, and he is full of transcendental bliss. So again, reference of Lord Shri Krishna comes from that perspective, that he is the cause of Paramatma and Brahman. So he is expanding as Paramatma, residing in everyone's heart as super soul, and even between the atoms and the void between the atoms. Even though the Srila Prabhupada challenged that there is no void, but since Shastras say that even between the atoms there is space, he is existing. So that's referring that Shabda case. So again, sound travels, as we learn in this chapter, in ether, not in air, as today's scientists say. Then he is identifying Maya Sakta Manaha Partha. O son of Kunti, attach your mind to me. So now this Asakti is being identified. Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he reveals the science of devotional service. That's also given by Srila Prabhupada in the Purport 4.10 verse. Purport also has this, where he is saying, Adho Shaddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha Atha Bhajana Kriya Tatha Anartha Nivriti Syat. And he continues as how one gets to Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, finally into Bhav and then Prema. So Asakti comes much later, but to reach to that Asakti, we have to go through these various stages. So that has been revealed by Srila Rupa Goswami Acharyas. And he is saying that first one should have faith. And that is the criteria. When you read Bhagavad Gita, in the beginning itself, you should read with this faith that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Arjun is his friend and his devotee. So when you start with this, then you are opening yourself to receive the knowledge, to receive the mercy of the Lord, to receive the blessing, to receive the prasad. Prasad also means mercy, right? So we get this prasad which will purify our very existence. And Lord Krishna is saying asakti. So, but to come to asakti, first you start with faith. You must have some faith, right? And with the faith, you get devotee association. So, Atha Shraddha Tatu Tatha Sadhu Sangha. When you come to Sadhu Sangha, then you seek, initiation, you chant the holy name. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rāma, Rāma Rāma, Hare Hare. You start to follow the regulative principles, no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling, and you continue to purify by chanting of the holy name, the given rounds, and minimum 16 rounds should be chanted every day, and on special days like Ekadashi and festival days 25 rounds, some minimum. There is no limit on maximum, so again you can chant throughout the day. And when we chant, we of course start with Panch Tattva mantra and paying obeisance to Namacharya Haridas Thakur, which enables us to receive the mercy. So again, everything is to align our consciousness, align our mind. And we talk about the various even different yogas that has been discussed in the 6th chapter. But before coming to the 6th chapter, I want to visit, there was an important question referred to the peace formula. So, in peace formula in 5.29, Bhoktaram yagatapsam sarvalok maheshwaram surhidam sarva bhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati. So Bhoktaram yagatapsam. So Lord is the beneficiary of all yagya and tapa, all sacrifices and all kind of austerities that we take up in this life. So he is the beneficiary. So he is directly or indirectly. If you are trying to serve someone, then it's indirectly. However, if we are serving Maya, then we are causing negative reaction. We are getting reaction which is binding us in this material world. And material energy keeps us bound here. And then it is Sarvalok Maheshwaram. The second part says that Lord is the supreme proprietor of all the material and spiritual universes. Surhidam Sarva Bhutanam. He is residing as Paramatma in every living entity's heart, not just human beings, but also animals, aquatics, birds, plants, all living entities, right? And he is Surhidam. So he is our best friend, he is our benefactor, he is, our father who is, seeking us to return back home and not suffer anymore in this world. Gyatva mam shantim riche. One who knows this attains peace. Now this knowing should lead to doing, right? Thinking, feeling, willing, and then action, doing. So that is important, because if we know this, that okay, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy and wise, that's a fact. And so we get up early. But if we know that this is the way to become healthy, wealthy and wise, but we get up late in the morning, then we won't be able to get the blessings that's coming from early rising. And we should know what to do when we rise early. We should chant the holy name. We should engage in devotional service. So yes, when we understand and engage in devotional service, then all our anxieties are reduced, all the anarthas, they go away. So sadhu sangha, after that, when we take initiation, we engage in deity worship, we engage in devotional service, anartha nivratis, we engage in bhajana kriya. Bhaj is bigger than just worship. Bhaj is devotional service. Bhaj means devotional service. Shavanam, Ketanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. So the 9 process of devotional service that Prahlad Maharaj reveals in the 7th canto, all of them are there, as well as reading and writing were added on in the 11th canto by Shukdev Goswami. And Srila Rupa Goswami describes the 64 processes of devotional service, of which 5 are most potent. And so we should continue to engage. And reading Srimad Bhagavatam, devotee association, chanting of the holy name, deity worship and staying at Dham, these are the 5 most potent forms. So you can make, even in pandemic times, have a picture of Lord Shri Krishna. And just light a lamp every day. If you have deities, then serve them every day. When you cook, all your activities should be dovetailed in pleasing Lord Shri Krishna. The deities, the pictures of Lord Shri Krishna is not different from him. That has been revealed again and again in the Shastras. So here he is identifying Yogam Yunjam Mad Ashraya. So it is, Yog means linking with the Lordship. So as we understand that, we have to link with the Lordship, and Lord in the last chapter, in the 6th chapter, the last verse, 47th chapter, what did he say? Yoginam api sarvesham madgatenantara atmana shaddaman bhajate yomam samayukta tamo mataha. Right? So here he is saying, Yoginam api sarvesham madgatenantara atmana, who's constantly abiding me, who's constantly thinking of me. So all the different yoga practices, they are meant to engage our mind in constantly thinking of Lord Shri Krishna. And different yoga practices, they use different systems, as we discussed in the last class. Karma yogis, they're doing the various kind of activities, and then they are doing the activities to please Lordship, right? So the karma yoga, all the karmas are dovetailed in pleasing Lord Shri Krishna. Whatever is the fruits given is further engaged in his service. So there is a chain reaction goes on in karma yoga. Everything that is received, as understood, is received as prasad of Lord Shri Krishna and engaged back in the cycle. And Lord sustains us in this process. So everything is engaged, and the devotees, as karma yogis, they are constantly progressing. So there is a reference giving to karmis. So those who are, sakam karma, they are doing different kind of activities, and they can do karma, which is like the prescribed duty, or they can do vikarma, non-prescribed duty, sinful actions, impious activities. We'll be talking about that as well in this chapter. So when they do that, there is a reaction, right? So they have also been discussed in the past chapters. And then comes the one who is meditating on Brahman, the Gyan Yogi. And we learn, Bahunam Janmanamante Gyanvan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlubha. So after many, many births, the Gyan Yogis come and take shelter. So Gyan Yogi is trying to sharpen their intelligence by analytical study. And they have to take many, many births before to come to the level where they take surrender of the lotus feet, at the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, and thus attain perfection by engaging in bhakti yoga. So why take so much time when you have an opportunity to directly take to the chanting of the holy name, which is a prayer to please engage me in your devotional service. Asking for this automatically invokes Lord's blessings and we engage in devotional service. Why not do it in this life? Why have to wait for many, many births? And there is also a danger that we may get entangled by mental speculation. And then that would be a great offense at the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, and we may fall down into the hellish conditions of life. Why suffer? There is a simple process, it's an easy process. Just take to devotional service. So, Brahmanvadi or the Jnanis, Jnana Yogis, they are constantly meditating on Brahman. So, they are not doing any activity because they are saying, oh, if I do an activity, then I will be caught. So, that should not be. For that, we should do activities that are benefiting. Yes, they definitely derive, by not doing activities, they derive benefit. They are called transcendentalists because they realize that Brahman is, absolute, at the absolute platform. Yet above Brahman, above sunshine is the sun planet. And that's where yogis, Ashtanga yogis, they meditate on the super soul in the heart. And it is not an artificial yoga. And it takes tens of thousands of years to perform that successfully. Prachetas performed Ashtanga Yoga under the water, singing the prayers that were given to them by Lord Rudra, Lord Shiva. So that's also called Rudra Gita. So when they were meditating on the Lordship by focusing and singing these prayers, they received from Lord Shiva, then they were able to see Lord after 10,000 years. Now, we don't have such a long life. Alpayusha Sabhya. So in the Kali age, we have, 100 years at max. Or most of the time, it's going to continue to reduce. Now we see people are having, maximum age as like 85 or so. And it's going to further reduce. Near the end of Kali age, people will have a life of 20-25 years. Can you imagine? So we have already lived, and then their mind will be much disturbed. But we should not think about that. We should think about us. This is about us to learn and grow spiritually so that we can use this human body that we have received, a rare gift, by the causeless mercy of Lord Shri Krishna, and then take it. And this is a perfect boat to cross over the ocean of nescience. This material world is also referred to as ocean. Mrityu Sansara Sagarat. It's an ocean of, constant change. Mrityu Sansar, constant death, annihilation is happening in this material world. And then above that is Bhaktas. Madgatenantaratmana, who is constantly meditating on me and constantly engaging in my devotion service. So, yoginam api sarvesham madgatenantaratmana shaddhavan bhajate yo mam same yukta tamo mata shaddhavan bhajate yo mam, who is with loving devotional service, engaging in devotional service and pleasing me. So, Lord is saying that He is constantly rendering devotional service to me. That is the best. Same yukta tamamata. He is the topmost devotee. He is a proper devotee. He is a proper yogi. And yogi is greater than ascetic. He is greater than the karmis. He is greater than the, jnanis. When he is saying that, sometimes people ask this question, how could it be? How could it be that a devotee who is simply engaging in such a simple process? Srila Prabhupada says, if the process is so simple, Mayavadis say, yes, devotion service is so simple, you can just go and sing all the time. Prakashanandi and the other impersonalists, they were, discussing this with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, saying, you are a sannyasi. A sannyasi should be Vedantist, study Vedanta. Why you engage in this? And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what did he say? He is none other than Kṛṣna in the mood of Radharani. And he is saying that my Guru Maharaj thinks that I am not qualified enough. So he told me to chant the holy name. Hare Kṛṣna, Hare Kṛṣna, Kṛṣna Kṛṣna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Mayavadis, they use this example and say, oh, if the devotion service is so easy. But then what did these Mayavadis and Prabhas do? They took the devotion service under the guidance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And if devotion service is so easy, then why don't you take it? Because it requires a special invocation of mercy of Lord Shri Krishna. We have to take shelter of a Vaishnava. Tad vidhi pradipatena pariprashnena sevaya ubdekshanti tajjnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. Tadvidhi. Now, Tadvidhi word comes many times. In context, it may mean as per the process, or just try to understand. So, just try to understand the process is a long way of saying the same meaning of this word with full context. Pranipadena paripashana sevya. Just take shelter, understand the process. Just try to understand that we have to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master who appears in disciplic succession, and we should serve them. We should serve the spiritual master lovingly and inquire from him submissively. And then they can reveal the truth to us because they are Tattvadashi, they have seen the truth. So only one who knows the truth can reveal it to us. So here Lord Krishna is revealing the truth. And he is saying, so again, anartha nivriti syat. So after bhajana kriya, anartha nivriti, all the anarthas they drive away. And once the anarthas drive away, you started with faith, now you get stronger faith, nishtha. Nishtha is stability, getting firm faith. And when you come to the level of nishtha, then you develop interest. That's ruchi. The next level is ruchi. You become interested. And when you are interested in a subject matter, you can, engage in studying the subject matter for hours and hours, and you won't feel the pangs of time. You would be so interested to know about him. Your ears will immediately, rise up saying, oh, I want to hear about this subject. Let's discuss this. Or, hey, I want to see this object. So if the best object to see is the deity form of Lord Shri Krishna. The best sound is to hear the glorious name form activities of Lord Shri Krishna. The best thing to touch is touching the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, paying obeisances to the Vaishnava acharyas, touching the bodies of the devotees, with awe and reverence, yet at the same time in a very respectful manner. So that's where legs should be used to walk to the temple, hands should be used to serve the Lordship, by cooking nice bhoga and making an offering, and doing various kind of activities, cleaning the house and everything. That everything can be dovetailed in Lord Krishna's service for his pleasure. So everything should be done. So this keeps us in constant remembrance of the presence of Lord Shri Krishna in our life. Everywhere actually he is there, but it is Maya that covers us by the, like cloud is covered in the sky, the sky is covered by cloud. It's not the sun has been covered by the cloud. Our vision to see the sun has been covered. So just like Maya, it covers us. It cannot cover Lord Shri Krishna, as is revealed in this chapter. Then he is saying, Yata Gyasyasi Tashrinu. Try to understand as per your ability. Right? So Lord Krishna is revealing this to Arjun, that Arjun is a living entity, and even though same in quality, he has limited quantity. Even though he is said as Dhananjaya, he is the conqueror of the wealth, he is known as Gudakesha, he has won over the sleep, he is known as Parantapa, who can conquer his enemies. He is Mahabaho, he is the great, mighty warrior. Yet at the same time, he is limited in quantity, while Lord Krishna is unlimited in potencies as well as quantities. So he is saying, as per your capabilities. So that's an instruction we should take. So he is saying, I shall now declare unto you this knowledge, both phenomenal, Gyan, and numinous, Vigyan, which is realized knowledge. This being known, nothing further shall, remain for you to know. Now Srila Prabhupada reveals this very important lesson in his lectures, that Gyan and Vigyan is very important. First we have to know what is knowledge. And knowledge is meant to, especially in this human form of life, we have intelligence. Intelligence comes with responsibility, and that responsibility is that we should be benefiting others as well as continue to grow spiritually, so that we can remove the miseries of this life. And what are the miseries? Janma, Mitru, Jara, Vyadhi, Dukkha, Doshanudarshanam. So these are the 4 miseries. Taking birth, very painful event. Death, definitely very painful event. Then getting old, yes, our body starts aching at different places. That's also very painful, another misery. And then Vyadhi, which is disease state. So when we get sick, again it is very painful. So these are the 4 miseries. The proper knowledge is one that enables us to get out of this material world and attain that spiritual abode with spiritual body where we don't have any of these 4 miseries. Another aspect is that today the knowledge that we get in this material world is like not definite knowledge. We go to colleges and schools, and as we discussed the example of a doctor giving medicine for a given disease, it may or may not cure, right? It may have effect, and that effect is, there are 5 elements, as we'll be discussing later in Bhagavad Gita. But overseer and permitter, the super soul in our heart, Paramatma, he is the one who finally permits, and then things are sanctioned. And he is our best friend. So he can only seek what is best for us. And so we should be ready to accept whatever comes our way with open arms, that my dear Lord, I am just your servant, Jivera Sarupa Kṛṣṇa Nityadas. Whatever is happening in my life is happening because of your mercy, and I accept it as is, and I continue to progress further. Under your shelter. Samad Ashraya. So he is saying that under my shelter. So he is asking us to take his shelter. So the earlier we do that, better it is for us. Yet at the same time, he is going to reveal some amazing information. And the information, the knowledge is revealed through sound vibration. So he is saying, Shunu, hear from me. So we should hear from Lord Shri Krishna or his devotees. And Shastras say that we should hear from a devotee who is appearing in a disciplic succession, Lord Shri Krishna, reading his words, Lord Shri Krishna's words is hearing from him. Reading purpose of Srila Prabhupada is hearing from him. Repeating the words of Acharyas is hearing from them. So that's how we should be hearing. And hearing is the most potent form of all the devotional services. It is where that Shraddha starts to grow with, Shivanam, right? And it's in the devotee association. So we are very thankful for you joining us today and engaging in hearing and glorifying Lord Shri Krishna. And as Lord Krishna, he continues to reveal, he is saying that Gyan and Vigyan, once these are known. So in today's life, there was a professor in university who was talking about that, life comes from different chemicals. A simple example, and then the student asks, so why don't you collect these chemicals and create life? He's like, I cannot do that, And the student said, then what you are doing is hypothesis, you are doing an anuman, perhaps this is the way. That's not perfect knowledge. Perfect knowledge is something that you can apply practically and see the results. That should be a criteria to derive knowledge. And of those various subject matters of knowledge, the most important knowledge is how can we remove the miseries of this world. Not by GMO products, but rather by engaging everyone so that we reduce our intake, we reduce. So again, in the 6th chapter we heard how to spiritualize this very body by, limiting the demands of this world. We should not eat less or we should not eat more. We should not sleep less, we should not sleep more, because both sides are dangerous. Rather, we should be within a given band so that we are strong, we are healthy, and the purpose is to serve Lord Shri Krishna, engage in devotion service. So that rendering service is more important, and everything should be done to focus on our serving Lord Shri Krishna, because that is our true nature, our constitutional position, our Swarup. So that is very important. And once we know that, then there is nothing that we need to know. We also discussed that to know that, Lord Shri Krishna, these senses, they are very dull. Atā Shri Krishna namadi na bhave grahayam indriya sevan mukehi jivado swameva sprutyadaha. Lord Krishna's name, form, activities, pastimes, they cannot be easily perceived by our dull senses. Our senses are way too dull for us to perceive the presence of Lord Shri Krishna. However, when we engage our tongue, sevan mukehi jivado. So again, when we engage our tongue in tasting prasadam, the remnants of food that has been offered. So again, from the lordship that we get after bhoga offering, it becomes remnants, his remnants, which is called prasad. Prasad is mercy. So we accept it, and that purifies, us and develops the finer tissues of our memory, and our intelligence becomes sharp, so that we become healthy, nourished, and engage in devotional service. And another way is that when we engage in chanting of the holy name, in glorifying Lord Shri Krishna and performing kirtan, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rāma, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And when we engage in devotional service, that's when we experience peace, as we discussed in the peace formula. Now Lord Krishna reveals, in this chapter his various energies, and he directly is coming to the point of identifying the material energy. Bhumirapo analo vayu kammano buddhireva cha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakriti rashtadha. So he is identifying that the earth, bhumi, right? Apo is water, analo is fire, and then vayu, air, kham, ether, and mano, mind, buddhir, intelligence, cha, and cha means and, ahankar, the false ego. So living entity, Jivira Swarupa Kṛṣṇa Nityada. So we have a Swarup, we have an ego, we are constantly filled with desires. That is the characteristic of the soul, we. However, in this body that we are there, the body is made up of 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements. What are these gross elements? Earth, right? Water, fire, air, ether. Why did I raise my hands differently? Because when we say yes, solid, this is referring to earth. And when a child is saying, I want to go for a leak, he's referring to water, And then when we are angry, the fire finger rises. This is called polluted finger for that reason, fire. And then when we try to put a tilak, we first pick it up and places the tilak on someone's forehead and then use the thumb to raise it higher. So this is representing air. And of all the 5 gross elements, the largest is sky, ether. So the largest finger refers to ether. So earth, water, fire, air, ether. So all 5 elements are represented in our hand. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. It goes zigzag, very easy. Start with earth. And then it is the 3 subtle elements are mind, intelligence, and false ego. And these are prakriti rashtadha. So these are the 8 elements of material energy. So these are all material energies. And in the next verse, Lord Krishna reveals that actually these are lower. Right? He is saying, Apariyam itasto anyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. That these, besides these, there is a superior energy of mind, which comprises of the living entities. So he is addressing us. He is saying that yes, living entities are higher, superior energy than the material energy. And it is very easy to understand practically that the gross elements, they are jada by very nature. Prakriti is by very nature jada. It's like, and we have taken this example, the body is made up of these 8 elements, the 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements. But it is the presence of the soul in the heart of this living entity, in this body. Yantra rudhani maya. So this machine, right, we are riding this machine, which is body, and so the body grows. A mother sees how a baby is growing into a boy, into a youth, into a grown-up man, and then further aging. So that change in the body, similarly in plant life, we see how there are small plants and how they grow into trees. So that growth is because of the presence of living entity, living soul. It's the soul is in these objects, the material objects which are like instruments, and they are growing. So the growth is because of the presence of the living entity, the soul. And the soul is a superior energy. Now Lord Krishna reveals, so again the first 7 consist of sound vibration, and Lord Krishna is revealing as how through Shravana, means again he is revealing how that knowledge is received and how the various energies are being discussed. Now he is revealing in the 6th and 7th chapter verses as how these various energies are related to each other. But it is very important in the 5th verse he is saying Yayedam dharyate jagat. So the living entities, they are in this earth, they are in this material universe, and they are the ones who are causing this material universe to function. They are the ones who are causing the body to function. And when we look at the body, sometimes people associate with the body, then they see that the body is nashvar, right? And it dies. Matra sparshāstu kaunteya shītoshna sukha-dukkha-dāgma-paina nityastam tikshasva bharata. So we should be very stable, understanding that just like summer and winter seasons come and go, similarly happiness and distress, they come and go. And then Lord Kṛṣṇa also reveals in the second chapter, when Arjuna is lamenting that all these warriors, they are going to die, and especially he is lamenting for his relatives, his grandsire Bhishma and his teacher Dronacharya. Then Lord Kṛṣṇa is revealing, Natvayevaham jatu nasam natyam neme chanadipaha nachevana bhavishyamaha sarvevayamata param. So never in the past they did not exist. You and I, or these kings who are gathered on this battlefield, did not exist. Never in the future they will cease to exist. So we are all eternal souls, he is revealing. And then he reveals the secret. Dehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantar praptir dhiras tatra namuyati. So dehino asmin yatha dehe, we are the living entities, we are actually in this soul, right? And the soul, because of the presence of the soul, the body is going from different stages, right? Kaumaram yauvanam jara. So from young boy to youth to, grown man to old age. Jara means old age. Tata dehantar praptir. At the end of this life, passes into another life, another body. So, deha praptir dhiras tatra namuyati. It gets another body, and one who is dhira, one who is a sober person, one who is in knowledge, does not get bewildered. So, sometimes people get confused. They are saying, okay, the super soul is in our heart, so I'm Brahmasmi, I'm Brahman, so I'm soul. No, I'm super soul. No, we are not super soul. Lord is expanding as super soul, we are soul, and they are constantly next to each other. And before even our body, which is made of the 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements, know it, Lord knows what our desires are. And that is, we as living entities cannot be desireless. When the word is referred in the Shastras as desireless, means we don't have any material desire to enjoy this material world. Rather, all our desires are dovetailing, pleasing Lord Shri Krishna. That's what is meant by desireless. When it says selfless, then it doesn't mean that we lose our existence. No, we are selfless means we don't engage in material, bhautik jagat related activities any. Rather, we are engaging in serving Lord Shri Krishna. So all our attention, our attraction, our devotion is in serving. All our interest in our dovetail. Everything is dovetail. All our activities are there to please Lord Shri Krishna. So we dharyate jagat. So we are the cause that the material universe functions. So if this is the case for a body, then what to talk about the planets who are floating? They are also because of a supreme living entity. So again, that is also being given, and it defeats the purpose that everything is being run on its own, right? It's not a chemical reaction, it defeats that factor. And then in the 7th verse, Lord is revealing, Matta partaram nanyad kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam proktam shutre mani ganaiva. So all, everything is resting on Lord Shri Krishna. So all created beings, they have their source in these 2 natures, right? And the natures have been discussed as the material nature, and then that's the external potency, and then marginal potency is living entities, higher than the material nature. So these 2 natures are there, and everything that is material and all that is spiritual are in these 2, in this world. So this is very important. People sometimes say, okay, then these are the only 2. So this is where, Mayavadis, they give this example. That means Brahman must be, has taken the form of, has taken a Maya, material body. And that's, body of Krishna. It is the Brahman within Lord Krishna is speaking. No. That is the wrong understanding. The true understanding is that everything in the material world which is functioning, so in our body, which is functioning, is because of the desires the living entity is having and using the machine like body in carrying out. So the body, the senses, they carry out various activities. So in mind, body and words, various activities are being carried out, and it is because of the desire of the soul. But Lord as Super Soul, Lord as Paramatma, Lord as Parameshwar is the one who is overseeing and permitting everything. But everything is happening based on the desires of living entities. So here, in the 7th verse, he is saying, O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. So here Lord Krishna is establishing his superiority. So we talked about sunshine is Brahman, sun globe is Paramatma, and Vivaswan, the presiding deity on sun, who is the cause of sun, being managed very nicely. He is a person. So similarly, Lord Krishna is the supreme person. So he is the supreme most. Ishvara Paramaha Krishna. So he is the topmost Ishvara. Satchidananda Vigraha. He has a body full of eternity, knowledge and bliss. And we talked about the 6 opulences. He's full in all 6 opulences. That's why he's referred to as Bhagwan. And of course, if you have all beauty, that means you must have features. You must have a form. His form is Nirguna, means it is above the gunas. Gunas means the 3 modes of material nature. Guna also means rope. So the living entities, when we accept this body, we are automatically bound in rope. And anything that is born is bound to die. So the body is born, so the body dies. But we living entities are unborn, we are eternal, so we continue to pass on from one body to another body. Vasam se jirnani yatha vihaya navani grihnati naro apurani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. Just like we change our dresses, similarly we change this body, in short. So we living entities, soul passes from one body to another body. So this is the first section of sacred, as where sound is being discussed. Now the next 5 verses 8 through 12 refer to A in sacred is Almighty. The Lord is the Almighty. He is the causes of all causes, and He is the supreme source. So we also talked about in the 7th verse where He is behind everything. He is the original cause of creation, maintenance, annihilation. We also talked about this in Srimad Bhagavatam class, where there is primary creation, secondary creation. Secondary creation is being conducted by Brahma after he receives the knowledge from Lord Krishna, and maintenance is by Vishnu, and then annihilation is by Lord Shiva under the instruction or guidance of Lord Krishna again. So he is like the thread in a pearl necklace. So pearls strung on a thread. So that's why he is not visible. So we have a pearl necklace. You see the pearls, but you don't see the thread. So that is why he is hidden to our sight. Now he starts to describe how he is the cause of all causes and how we should know him. Knowledge of the absolute truth means, how do we know the absolute truth? How do we understand him? So that has been explained here. So he starts to describe that how he is the cause of all causes, how he is the, how we should see him. He is saying, Rasoham apsu kaunteya. So he is saying, I am the taste in water. Prabhashmi shashi suryaho. I am the, effulgence, the light of sun and moon. Shashi suryaho. Shashi means moon and Surya means sun. So he is the light of sun. He is the brightness, he is the effulgence that's coming from sun and moon. Pranav sarva vedeshu. So he is the syllable Om, A-U-M. Om is again Lord Shri Krishna. And Shabdake, and he is the sound in ether. So sound again, today's scientists they say, oh, it's carried in air. Then how do you explain that you are able to get waves and transmission from space? Because there is no air there, because air actually travels in ether, space, in sky. So that's has already been revealed here, but they try to, that's why the scientific knowledge that we see is ascending knowledge. They are trying to build upon, while it has already been, as descending knowledge already been provided. So we can save much time if we take to Shastra study and grow spiritually as well as materially, to help our spiritual advancement. That should be the focus. Shabdake Paurisham Nisha. I am the ability in man. So all the ability that we have is coming from Lord Shri Krishna. So when we see someone doing amazing feats, then we should again remember Lord Shri Krishna, that this ability in this person came because of the mercy of Lord Shri Krishna. It has been granted. So all of us have different abilities, and they are all coming because of the mercy of Lord Shri Krishna. So this way we can constantly remember Lord Shri Krishna. He continues to identify that he is the original fragrance of the earth, right? Punya Gandha Prithviyam Cha, and he is saying that I am the heat in fire. Tejas means Vibhavaso. So again, Tejas also means light and heat, right, in fire. And he is the life of all that lives, and he is the penance of all ascetics. So this way we can continue to remember Lord Shri Krishna, and then he establishes that he is the original seed of all existence. So establishing his supremeness, now he is establishing that he is the cause of all causes. And here there is a reference given from Katha Upanishad. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetanam eko bahunam yo vidadati kanam. So again, of all the eternal beings, he is the supreme eternal being. And of all the cognizant beings, of all the beings with consciousness, being awareness, he is the topmost being. And at the same time, he is alone one who is maintaining all others, unlimited living entities, unlimited potencies. He is the one who is the potent, the supreme potent. And he continues to identify from 8 to 12 as how we see him, how we know him as Almighty, as the cause of all causes. And he is saying that I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. He is even the sex life, which is meant for progeny in a regulated householder life, right? It's meant not for sense enjoyment, but meant for progeny, for having children, and which is contrary to the religious principle, not contrary to the religious principle. So it is also, so again, we have been given this ability that when we get the body, it takes birth, it grows, it maintains for some time, it creates, offsprings. So that offspring is also as per the religious principles, and that's why mating has been recommended. So eat, sleep, mate, defend, these 4 things should be limited. We should try to restrict these so that we can engage in devotional service. But if we want to have children, then we should be looking for Krishna conscious children, and there is a Garbhadhan Samskar which should be followed. So that's a bigger, so again, I'm giving you a glimpse to many of the subject matter which themselves could be spoken for hours, but I'm giving you a glimpse because Lord Krishna is revealing these in this particular chapter. And he is saying that deluded by the 3 modes of material nature, passion, ignorance, and goodness, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. So this defeats that Lord Krishna, whose Brahman has taken a material form, that is defeated here. He is clearly identifying that he is above the 3 modes of material nature. And so in this particular 13th through and 14th verses, he is identifying that he is not controlled by the 3 modes of material nature. He is not under the influence of the material nature. Rather, he is the master of the nature. He is the controller of the 3 modes of material nature. And the 14th verse is a very famous verse. Devi he gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mame vye prapadyante maya me tam tarantite. Devi he gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. This material energy of mine. So it's saying, he's calling out that this external potency, Mahamaya, this material energy, is his energy. So he is the all-potent Supreme Personality, and that's his inferior energy also. It's being identified. The living entity is a superior energy. But in contact with Maya, our knowledge is covered, up to abilities are covered. So that's why she is Duratya. She is very difficult to overcome, and she is called out as ocean. So it's very difficult to cross over the ocean. Mame vye prapadyante mayame tam tarantite. But those who surrender unto me, Lord Krishna is saying, when we surrender at the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, we can easily cross over this ocean. Mayame tam tarantite. Tar jate hain, right? And we can swim across because the whole material ocean becomes the size of a calf's hoof print. And you can easily jump over a calf's hoof print. And rather, we will also hear that not just we cross over it, this journey is very enjoyable, very peaceful, happy, transcendental, full of transcendental bliss, right? And we are enjoying as we are crossing over this material world. So 13th and 14th refer to controller of the 3 modes of material nature. So in sacred SAC S is for sounds, A is for Almighty Supreme Personality of Godhead, He is the cause of all causes, and C is for control of the three modes of material nature and not controlled by them. And then 15 to 19th verse, he is talking about the religious and irreligious people, people who are following the injunctions of the Shastras. So these people are also called pious people. They are following the prescribed duties as per the Shastras. And then they are impious people, right? They are irreligious because they are not following the injunctions of the Shastras. They have been discussed. So he is first identifying the four kind of impious people, right? Irreligious people who don't surrender unto him. Namam drushkiti no mudha prapadyante naradhama maya pratagyana suri bhava mashritaha. Namam drushkiti no mudha. So first he is saying namam drushkiti no. Kriti means activities. But dushkriti means bad activities, sinful activities. People who are dusht by very nature, people who are impious by very nature, people who are irreligious by very nature. They do not surrender unto him. And what are these four categories? Mudha. These are the burden, beast of burden. They are like asses. So what is beast of burden? Asses are beast of burden. That's an example. There are many other beast of burden, but this is. So they are like asses. And why is ass called beast of burden? Because it can easily find grass anywhere. Yet at the same time, it takes to serving a master who is engaging him in heavy labor and does not give him enough remuneration or enough returns, and all return that the donkey is looking for is to eat some grass, which it can find anywhere very easily. Yet at the same time, people with that mindset, the beast of burden, they are endeavoring very heavily in this material world, trying to enjoy the senses, but material energy does not reward them accordingly, so they get bewildered. We talked about pavarga, how they become bewildered and finally they attain, in fearful state, they leave their body. And that is their, that's why they are called mudhas, they are called beast of burden. Now the second one is prapadnate naradhama, nar adhama. So there are 8.4 million species that are existing in this material universe. 4 lakhs of them are human beings. And there are different grades of human beings. The ones on the lowest grade are naradhama. They are the lowest of human beings, and so they do not surrender. They do not have proper understanding of the supreme position of Lord Shri Krishna. Then somebody can say, but what about these philosophers, doctors, and so again I'm talking about the philosophers and the people who get doctorate degrees, in philosophy and knowledge and so forth. They are trying to post themselves. Why don't they surrender to Lord Shri Krishna? Have they understood something even higher? No. Actually, Lord Krishna is revealing Maya Pradyana. Because of their pride, because of their false ego being so strong in them and thinking themselves to be so knowledgeable, material energy covers their intelligence. So their knowledge has been stolen away by material energy, right? And so their intelligence is dull. It's not sharp. It may be sharp on the philosophy, speculative area, but they are not really intelligent. So that their intelligence has been covered just like the cloud covers the sky. They can never cover the sun. You will never find cloud on sun. The cloud is on earth, so they are stopping earth. So their intelligence is stolen away, and they're covered by cloud. So they are not. Lord is not manifested to them. So that's the third class, and then fourth type of impious people are asurim bhavam. So they are demonic by nature, and we will hear in the divine and demonic nature, a demonic person thinks, I am a very strong person, I am a very influential person, I have defeated all my enemies, and I have gathered so much following, and I have gathered so much recognition, and I will continue to grow, and I will continue to be the master of all. So that's their mindset, that this is asuri bhava. They are constantly engaged and thinking in the relative world. They are constantly affected by hot and cold, happiness and distress, win and loss. So that is their state. So they are situated at that stage. So these 4 kind of people do not surrender unto the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. Then Lord Krishna reveals the 4 kind of pious people who surrender to him. Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukritena arjuna artho jigyasu arthati jnanischa bharatarshava. 4 kind of pious people, right? Sukritino. he's saying pious people, religious people who surrender into him. And what are these 4 categories? Artho, one who is in distress. That's why we see near the hospital there is always a temple, especially in India, so that people, they can immediately take shelter and ask for prayers for the welfare of their loved ones or for their own recovery. Artho, one who is distressed. So there are various kind of distresses, right? There are 3 kinds of miseries that can happen: Adhyatmik, Adhibhautik, and Adhidevik. Adhyatmik is the one that is created by our own mind. Now the 30th verse also refers to Lord Krishna as Adi Yagya, Adi Bhuta, and Adi Deva. So that's again, is the Puranic, that's old. But these are miseries are in the same line, so it's easy to remember them. Because even there we can relate with Lord Shri Krishna, even miserable state. So one that has caused my mind is something that we can control, and we should try to control those. And that is 90% or more of the miseries that we experience in our life. So if we can control, and very simple way is to engage our mind in the chanting of Mahamantra. Mantra means one that mantra that delivers the mind. So all we have to do is when our mind is anxious, we take to the chanting of the holy name, praying to the Lordship for His mercy. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rāma, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we can attain salvation, we can attain peace. And then it's Adi Devik, which is caused by natural disturbances like tsunamis, snowfall, floods and so forth. And then Adi Bhautik coming from other living entities. So it's very interesting. There was a very nice example Srila Prabhupada was discussing in one of the cases. A young boy, a very attractive boy, is attracted by a mosquito as well as his beloved. Now both of them are thinking that this is a very attractive boy, but their mindset is very different. The girl is thinking, oh, he is my lover, and he is going to serve me and make me happy. And the mosquito is also thinking, yes, he is a very nice feast, and he is going to make me happy because I am going to feast on his body. But there is a gulf of difference in the way they are interacting. One is going to give pain, another one is going to give pleasure. But in reality, in this material world, there is nothing as pleasure. It is a delusion, Maya, that's called delusion, where everything is going to cause misery in the long run if we keep ourselves in the center. What we need to do is, we should keep Lord Krishna in the center. So when we keep Lord Krishna in the center and engage everyone in serving Lord Shri Krishna, then everything becomes transcendental. That's why the temple is called transcendental. Even though it's in the city which is in the mode of passion, it becomes transcendental of the 3 modes of material nature because Lord Krishna is there. And how could his home be different than him? And Lord Krishna is transcendental. And then he's revealing that of these 4 pious people, the Jnani is the most advanced, most dear. Why? Because he's coming without any returns. He is coming by taking shelter and wanting to understand. Inquisitive is curious to know, so his curiosity may be satisfied. Then he may change direction. But a Jnani is coming with full knowledge that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I want to return back home, back to Godhead. So the Shraddha is already very close to the level of Nishtha, and with the Sadhu Sangha and Bhajan Kriya, he quickly advances. And then so again, this is from 15 to 19 that we are talking about. The 19th verse is Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanvamam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. So a Jnanvan person, a Jnani understands that Vasudeva Krishna, Vasudeva has 2 meanings. Son of Vasudeva is also Vasudeva, and then one who is present everywhere, who has Vas everywhere, that Deva is Vasudeva. So from that perspective, we understand that Lord is, as Paramatma, He is pervading everywhere. Now 20th to 25 is where we talk about other escapists, right? So we are talking about different kind of impious people, different kind of pious people, and then there are some category of yogis also there, and then some people who are karmis and engage in karma kand. What about them? What about the impersonalists? So these are escapists, that is E in sacred. So they have been discussed here from 20th to 25, and Lord Krishna starts with identifying just like Maya or Pradjnana. So he is giving out that these escapists, which are like the materialists, they are seeking material desires. So they approach different demigods and they engage in demigod worship. Why? Because their intelligence has been stolen by Maya. Maya apradgyana, not just the philosophers but also materialists. They're seeking sense gratification, so their intelligence has been taken away. So they follow the rules and regulations of worshipping a specific demigod and they get the results. But in reality, these results are granted only by Lord Shri Krishna. Why? Because he's the permitter as super soul in our heart. So he's sitting there as overseer and permitter and he permits them. And as super soul, he strengthens the faith of such a person in that demigod. And as we will hear in the next chapter, Devan, Dev Yajaganti. So again, they go to the planet of the demigods because they have faith in that demigod, they are worshipper of that demigod. And accordingly, their faith develops, but the benefits are actually coming from none other than Lord Shri Krishna. Even the demigods are deriving all the benefits that they are passing into their worshippers is coming from Lord Shri Krishna. So that has been revealed as well. Yet at the same time, it is said that it is only when with small intelligence, and Srila Prabhupada used to use the word poor fund of knowledge. People have poor fund of knowledge who are not very intelligent. They worship the demigods, and so their fruits are temporary and they are limited. And on top of that, the fruits also cause misery in long run. So that is also true. But his devotees, they attain his abode. So antvantu phalam tesham tadbhavate alpamedhasam Devan devaya joyanti madbhaktayanti mamapi. So the worshipper of demigods, Devan devaya joyanti, they attain the planet of the demigods. But madbhaktayanti mamapi, my devotees attain my supreme abode. Now he describes his supreme abode as well. But he is telling that this unintelligent men, they don't know Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They don't know perfectly. They are thinking that I have become, I was the impersonal Brahman and now assumed this personality made of material energy. So this is where he himself is defeating this theory that Brahman has taken a material form, which has been normally propagated by the Mayavadis. They do not know his higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. So Lord Krishna reveals this, and he is revealing how he is covered by such people who are not very intelligent, who are materialist or even impersonalist. He is saying, Naham prakasha sarvasya yogam maya samovrataha mudo ayam nabhijanati loko mamajam avyayam. I am never manifest to the foolish and intelligent, not to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know me, that I am unborn and infallible. Now, 26th through 30th is determination. Lord Krishna focuses on determination in knowledge. So the acronym sacred, S is for sound, A is for Almighty Supreme Lord, who is the cause of all causes, C is for controller of the modes of material nature, not being controlled by them, R is for religious and irreligious, the four kind of people who take to the, religious people, the pious people who take shelter of Lord Shri Krishna, and pious people who deride Lord Shri Krishna and don't approach him. And then we talked about E in sacred as escapists, which are the demigod worshippers, the impersonalists, the materialists. And then D is for determination, as how one in full knowledge can attain freedom in devotional service. By taking to devotional service, one can attain freedom from the anxiety, freedom from the temporary body that we have. By attaining a spiritual body, by going back home, back to Godhead, by becoming fearless, by removing the fear that's associated with the existence in this material body and being impacted by all kinds of sufferings. So we can, with determination, we have to be dhanavata to be able to attain that. That's covered in 26th through 30th verses. And we can attain perfection. So it is very important that here, and just the previous verse 25th, one of the important aspects is visible from the Shastra is Krishna Surya Sama Maya He Andhakara Jaha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Radhikara. Lord Krishna is like the sun and Maya is like Andhakar. So the clouds, they cover the planet Earth, they cover the sky for us, so we cannot see the sun. There is no possibility of clouds on sun, even though sun is the cause of the clouds on our planet, right? It is the evaporation of the water from the ocean or from the water bodies that causes the clouds to form. And this evaporation comes because of the sunlight. The heating from the sun causes the water vapors to rise up and take the form of clouds. Yet at the same time, even though Lord Krishna is the cause of all causes, Maya, which is created by him, covers our intelligence, and we think that I am this body and we engage in sense gratification. So that is our covering, that is our less intelligence. That's why we should hear from Lord Shri Krishna, we should hear from his devotees. So we remove this ignorance, we understand that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus engage in serving him with devotional service and attain perfection. That has been explained in 26th through 30th verse. And also he paves the way in 23 to 30th that in full consciousness of me, he is saying, who knows me the Supreme Lord to be the governing principle of material manifestation of the demigods and of all methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. By saying this, that one can attain even at the time of death, he is paving a path to the next chapter. How to attain the Supreme. So that is, attaining the Supreme is the title for chapter 8. So this is where the chapter 7 ends. And we understand that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ishvara Paramaha Krishna. And even Arjuna, he reveals in the 11th chapter, that he is the Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavam. So Lord Krishna is his Param Brahma. So he is even beyond Brahman, and he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the goal of all, this is goal of our very life, and he is Param Dhama, he is the topmost holy place. So we just have to take shelter of Lord Shri Krishna. His lotus feet are our shelter, as Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur reveals in Sharanagati prayers, that we have to take shelter. Shaddavan bhajate yomam samay yukta tamamata. So again we have to take his shelter and engage in devotional service. Hare Krishna. This is where this chapter ends. Thank you for joining us. Shrimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anand Koti Vaishnav ki jai, Nitaya Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.